Well, yesterday, Bungie dropped a whole bunch of new information related to Void 3.0, including all the new aspects and the fragments we're going to see at launch, plus also a few snippets of video with all the new Void abilities in action. Well, today I'm going to go over all the important information, so you're ready for the upgraded Void subclasses in the Witch Queen. Well, if you're new around here or find this useful, don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below for all the latest Destiny 2 content, and turn on notifications by hitting that bell. And roughly 98% of viewers who watch This Week in Video Games aren't subscribed, so subscribe today and never miss an update. Well, first of all, some really good news. Most of the aspects and the fragments are going to be available pretty much right around launch, except for some that are going to be time-gated related to the world's first raid. And that's about 10 days after the Witch Queen drops. That's great because the grind for all the aspects and the fragments on each class, with Stasis, it was an absolute pain. And having everything available is going to make things much easier. I'm going to jump over to the article released on Bungie.net and we're going to go through some of the details. So Bungie say, as with Stasis, we've got a bunch of new verbs with Void 3.0, and these are going to dictate the damage type moving forward. So first of all, suppress, and the target is taken out of any active ability when suppressed, and while suppressed, the target can activate any abilities or movement modes, and combatants are disoriented. Then we've got weaken, so the target takes increased damage, has slowed movement, and is disoriented. Then we've got volatile, so the target will explode and avoid detonation upon taking additional damage. And if the target dies before volatile has taken enough damage to detonate, the detonation happens anyway. Then we've got invisibility, so the player vanishes from sight and does not appear on radar. We've got overshield, so the player gains a protective barrier that immediately stacks on top of their existing health and the shield and intercepts incoming damage. An overshield reduces the damage taken from PvE combatants. Well, finally, we've got Devour, so the player is immediately restored to full health upon activating Devour from any source and is granted grenade energy. And when the player gets a kill with the Devour active, they are restored to full health, granted grenade energy, and the Devour buff timer is extended. So that sounds really, really powerful. So taking into account all of those verbs, let's have a look at the class-by-class look at how Guardians will benefit from the Void 3.0 changes coming in Destiny 2. Well, first of all, we've got the Titan. So a Void-enabled Titan is the stalwart shield of a fire team, whether serving up the Ward of Dawn protective bubble to withstand furious enemy assaults, or charging the battlefield shield in hand, mowing down opponents one shield toss at a time. So previously, the two supers, the Ward of Dawn and the Sentinel Shield, they were tied to one another from a control standpoint, so that the Titans had to use a similar input and sit through a chunk of the Sentinel Shield's activation animation before the Ward bubble was created. Well, with Void 3.0, the two functions are separated, and that means the Ward of Dawn is now nearly instantly activated. In addition, the Ward of Dawn has been moved to the faster super cooldown tier, making it much more available to the Titan in need. Just as before, the Sentinel Shield will allow Titans to traverse the battlefield bashing foes with their Void Shield or tossing the shield as melee attacks. So Throne Shields will damage opponents and also apply Volatile if Controlled Demolition is equipped, while Shield Bash kills will grant a full Overshield. So there's going to be 3 Titan aspects to choose from with Void 3.0. We've got Controlled Demolition, so hitting a target with a Void ability or Volatile detonation makes them volatile. We've got Bastions, so casting a barricade generates an overshield for yourself and nearby allies, and those bunkering behind the shield will regenerate overshield over time and extend the overshield's duration. Well, then we got Offensive Bulwark, so while you've got an overshield or while you're inside a Ward of Dawn, grenades charge significantly faster and you've got increased melee damage. You also gain additional shield throw for your Sentinel Shield Super. So that looks really, really powerful stuff, and all you Titans out there, let me know down in the comments what you think of your aspects and Void 3.0. Well, next up we got the Hunters. So the Hunter prioritises movement and stealth in the heat of battle, whether it's enduring a few moments of tactical recalibration in a tense encounter by briefly vanishing after dodging an attack, or setting snares and traps to disorient and slow their opponents. A fight with a Hunter is always a study in agility, surprise and deadly precision. Well, in addition to the Spectral Blade Super, the Shadow Shot variants that the Hunters are accustomed to, Deadfall and Mobius Quiver, well, they're still going to be found in the Void 3.0 updates, though there are some changes to be aware of. For example, Mobius Quiver will fire volleys of 3 arrows that will now track targets and make them volatile if they are tethered. In addition, with Deadfall, the Void anchors that are dropped after the Shadow Shots will now pull enemies towards it when it impacts a surface or a target, and the Hunter's Snare Bomb melee ability will now weaken opponents. In PvP, players caught in a snare bomb will have their HUD removed and obscuring screen effect applied for a short period of time. So Hunters will have 3 aspects to select from with Void 3.0, so we've got Trapper's Ambush. Players can activate Quickfall to spend their melee charge and dive to the ground, creating a smoke cloud upon impact. Enemies caught in the cloud are weakened and allies become invisible. In addition, snare bombs upon attaching to surfaces or enemies cause nearby allies to become invisible. Then we've got Vanishing Step, so dodging makes hunters invisible. And then finally we've got Stylish Executioner, so defeating a void debuff target, so they're weakened, suppressed or volatile, that grants invisibility and true sight. So while invisible after a stylish execution, your next melee attack weakens enemies. Once again, all my hunters out there, let me know in the comments what you think of those aspects. Well, finally, we've got the Warlocks, so the infinite mysteries of the universes are the playgrounds of the Warlocks. So when they aren't nose deep in ancient text, Warlocks are floating across the battlefield, healing allies and creating havoc among their foes. Well, Void 3.0 fine-tunes these powers, and the Warlock's new aspects will, among other new abilities, summon a brand new type of support from the yawning void of space-time. So the Nova Warp Super lets Warlocks quickly teleport from one spot to the next, and players can choose to let loose with Deadly Void Eruption. Now with the Vortex Super enhancement, a player's Nova Bomb will now draw enemies to the singularity it creates, damaging them once inside. So casting a Nova Bomb with the Cataclysm enhancement will cause it to travel across the battlefield and seek out enemies. Detonations will shatter into smaller seeking projectiles, and shooting the Nova Bomb will cause it to detonate early. Well, then we got the Warlock's Melee Pocket Singularity, that fires an unstable ball of void energy that detonates when it's near enemies, pushing them away from the blast and making them volatile. So as with Titans and Hunters, Warlocks are going to have 3 aspects to wield in Void 3.0. So first of all, we've got Chaos Accelerant, so hold down the grenade button to overcharge your Vortex, Axion Bolt Scatter and Magnetic Grenades, and magnetic grenades overcharge into a handheld supernova. Then we've got Feed the Void, so defeating an enemy with the Void ability activates Devour. And then we got the Child of the Old Gods, so you can cast your Rift to summon a Void Soul. When you damage an enemy with your weapon, your Void Soul will launch itself towards them and detonate nearby, attaching Draining Tendrils that will deal damage to weaken the target. And when your Void Soul deals damage, either restores melee and grenade energy if you're running a Healing Rift, or health if you're running an Empowering Rift, and that is all going to come back to you. So defeating an enemy as being drained grants Rift energy. Well, Child of the Old Gods looks really cool, and it is making me think twice about which class to pick in the Witch Queen. So I'm definitely going Void, whatever, but am I going to go with Titan, Hunter or Warlock? Let me know in the comments what you want to see in the Witch Queen. Well, to complement the class-specific aspects, Void 3.0 will also introduce a number of new fragments, and they're going to offer new perks to build upon as well as add bonuses or penalties to your Guardian's intrinsic stats. So here's a look at a few of the new fragments to come. So we've got Echo of Expulsion, so Void ability kills called enemies to explode, and that's an intellect bonus. We've got Echo of Provision, so damaging enemies with grenades grants melee energy, and that is a strength penalty. We've got Echo of Domineering, so after suppressing a target, gain greatly increased mobility for a short duration, and your equipped weapon is reloaded from reserves, and that is also a discipline bonus. Finally, we've got Echo of Undermining, so Void grenades weaken enemies, and there we've got a discipline penalty. So another significant change for Void 3.0 is that all subclasses will have access to all Void grenade types in the game. For example, as a Hunter, you'll be able to run with the Suppressor or Magnetic Grenades instead of choosing between just Void Spike, Void Wall or Vortex. In addition, some grenades will see some upgrades. For example, the lingering field created by Vortex grenades will now suck enemies into it. Well, loads of really exciting stuff there in Void 3.0, and that arrives to coincide with the launch of the Witch Queen on February the 22nd, 2022. So loads of information there about Void 3.0, and I'd love to hear your thoughts down there in the comments. Let me know if you're going to be running Titan, Hunter or Warlock, and also which aspects and fragments you're most excited about. Well, that is it for this look at Void 3.0 and the aspects and the fragments. And as always, thank you so much for watching. For more Destiny 2 content like this, hit that subscribe button down below and subscribe to This Week in Video Games. Or you can check me out on Twitter at TWIVG Podcast. If you enjoyed this video, found it useful, like it, sharing the video would really help me out. Otherwise, check out the other videos on the channel. Well, thanks again, and I'll see you soon.